Do you ever just have days where you're too tired to put a shirt on, so you're just like, fuck it, I don't care? Me today. Um, okay, so I want to talk about confusion and why that's okay when it comes to exploring or thinking about your gender identity. Um, I've been confused multiple times throughout my transition. And I still am confused. Some days more than other. I just wanted to talk about why that's okay and why you should almost embrace the confusion that you're feeling. Gender is so fucking complex. Like, people don't understand how colorful gender is, that it's anything but black and white. There are so many different ways that a person can identify that it's honestly limitless, and it's so personal to each person that some people may not understand the way that you identify. I had a friend who identified they were born female, but they identified as male, but their sexuality they identified as a lesbian. While to some people that may sound ridiculous and may not make any sense, to that person it made sense. Me, even the way that I identify might be confusing to people. I identify as a female to male gender fluid individual. Usually just identifying as female to male is like one label on its own, and the gender fluid part is usually a label on its own. But because I'm transitioning from male to female, that's why I still embrace the FTM label. And I embrace the gender fluid label because I fluctuate, very frequently between feeling male and female, and I express that through my clothing. So it's okay to be confused. If we go back almost 2 years ago, because I've been on T, it'll be a year in June, and it's March, what is it? It's March 19th right now, 2017. If we go back 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, when I started discovering my gender identity, I had no fucking clue what was going on. All I knew is I started looking at pictures of Erica Linder, and I was like, holy shit, she's attractive, and she's really androgynous, like, I want to look like that. And I didn't know anything beyond that. All I knew is that there was this beautiful androgynous woman who could dress as a male, and I thought that was really cool. Did I have any idea that that would lead me down the path that I would be on hormones for almost 2 years and that I've had top surgery? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I went to therapy for 8 months and I had no goddamn clue what was going on, girl. I was just like, maybe I just like wearing men's clothing. Maybe I'm just a tomboy. Maybe I'm trans. Maybe I'm not. Maybe. Maybe I'm gender fluid. Maybe I'm FTM. I had no idea, but now I know. And even some days I'm still confused. I'm just like, why didn't I know that I was gender fluid before? Because that's originally how I identified. And then I changed it to just being FTM. And like 2 months ago, I realized, I was like, FTM doesn't cover all of me. And so I just want everyone to know that if you're sitting there and you're questioning your gender identity, or you feel secure in your gender identity and you have moments of questioning, that's okay. You don't have to have everything figured out. What I learned in therapy is that gender is constantly changing, is that it's very fluid within ourselves. That for one period of time you may identify as one thing, and then that may change and morph into something else. And that's okay. What I've learned is you just have to sit in the uncomfortability and know that an answer isn't just going to come to you like that. You can look at Tumblr, you can look at YouTube videos, you can try and get a feel for different identities and see what you fit with, but these things take time. You're not going to just figure it out overnight. I mean, maybe you will. Maybe you're watching this video and you realize that you identify as FTM gender fluid. Amazing. Glad I could help. But for most of us, it's not that easy. You can't just look at something and it's all going to click. It takes time. I would highly suggest going to therapy if you can afford it. If you live in New York and like the like Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, I have some really great resources for you. If you want to message me, there's a really great place that I go to in New York that has changed my life, that I do all my healthcare there. But it's okay to be confused. Embrace it. That's the time to fuck with your gender expression. Fuck with society's expectations of how you're supposed to dress or what you're supposed to wear. If you were born male and you're feeling feminine, buy a dress, paint your nails, do your hair. You don't have to wear these things out if you're not comfortable, but play around and find what feels comfortable. There's going to be trial and error. You're going to try some things. Like for me, on a very personal note, when I was exploring my gender identity, I tried packing and I realized that wasn't for me. That wasn't something that I felt comfortable with or felt that I needed to do. I was dysphoric for like a couple months and I was like, oh God, like, but now that's not something that I personally struggle with. So it takes time is what I'm trying to say. It takes time. And just live in that confusion. Embrace it. It's going to be okay. You're going to figure it out eventually. It may not be next month. It may not be next year. But eventually, what I learned is that the true self knows. That is one of the most important pieces of advice that I ever got from therapy when I was discovering my gender identity. Is my therapist, Stacy, told me the true self knows. Deep down, you know who you are. You might just be pushing it down and saying, no, I'm not this, no, I'm not that. But like deep down, you just may not be ready to embrace it yet. And that's okay. You may never be ready to embrace it. And that's okay too. But just know that it's okay to not know. Because sometimes I don't know. And that's okay. I've learned to be okay in that murky uncomfortability. So I hope this video at least helped one person. And yeah, just know that you're not alone. There's plenty of transgender people out there. There's plenty of non-binary people. And it's a journey. I call it my gender journey. And it's going to have up and downs, but eventually things will get easier and you'll become more secure in yourself and begin to kind of find some solid ground instead of constantly, having like earthquakes underneath your feet where you can't get a steady grip. But I hope, I can't promise, but I hope that eventually the confusion will end and you'll be able to have a stable sense of yourself. That is my hope for everyone that is watching this video that is confused. So, all right, you guys have a great day and thanks so much for watching. Bye.